Hello, my name's Alice Swain and I'm the officer of the Salvation Army in Mould. Usually in our centre on a Wednesday and Saturday we share a short pause for thought together. As we can't gather together in our building at the moment, we thought it would be good to continue to share our pause for thought with you. So it's my privilege to do it today as we enter into our approach to Easter. Isn't it funny how smells transport you to places? The smell of freshly cut grass reminds me of summer days, lazing in the hammock, watching the clouds go by and reading a book. The smell of roast dinners instantly transports me to my mum and dad's house, with loads of people around the table, big bowls of food and lots of laughter taking place. The smell of baking cakes takes me to my Auntie Flo's kitchen, having picked a cake mould and smelling the cake being made as I get excited about how it's going to be iced for my birthday. I've recently been pondering a story that's found in 3 gospel accounts in the lead up to Christ's death, just days before Jesus dies, and it's got a lot to do with this kind of thing. Mark chapter 14 verses 3 to 8 reads, "Now Jesus was in Bethany, in the home of Simon, a man that Jesus had healed of leprosy. And as he was reclining at the table, a woman came into the house holding an alabaster flask. It was filled with the highest quality of fragrant and expensive oil. She walked right up to Jesus, and with a gesture of extreme devotion, she broke the flask and poured out the precious oil over his head. But some were highly indignant when they saw this, and they complained to one another, saying, 'What a total waste! It could have been sold for a great sum, and the money could have benefited the poor.' So they scolded her harshly. Jesus said to them, 'Leave her alone. Why are you so critical of this woman? She has honoured me with this beautiful act of kindness. For you will always have the poor, whom you can help whenever you want, but you will not always have me. When she poured fragrant oil over me, she was preparing my body in advance for my burial. She's done all that she could do to honour me.'" What a lovely picture. What a fragrant picture that is. And in John's Gospel, we read another perspective of this story. John chapter 12 and verse 3 reads, "Mary picked up an alabaster jar filled with nearly a litre of extremely rare and costly perfume, the purest extracts of nard, and she anointed Jesus' feet. Then she wiped them dry with her long hair, and the fragrance of the costly oil filled the house." I love that picture. Over the past couple of weeks, I've been resting in this scripture, trying to grasp what it might have to say about us and to us today. The story isn't a story of extremes. Mary showed extreme devotion in the way that she cared for Jesus. It's a story of extreme sacrifice, the money that it would cost, a year's wages spent in a lavish act of love. It showed extreme focus. She probably knew that she would get criticised by people for it, but she stayed focused on God despite the criticism. I was really challenged by that extreme devotion. In this time, Jesus is giving us an opportunity in our world today. He is calling us to a radical devotion. Now, I'm not saying forget the poor and just spend our time listening to God. My heart breaks when I think of those people at this time who are struggling to make ends meet, those people who have nowhere to go. The Salvation Army is a movement who always looks to show Jesus' extravagant love to those in need and to those who are rejected by society. That's part of our DNA, and it's something that we are always to do. However, I've been challenged to think, how are we different to all the other people who are helping the poor and needy at this time? As Mary wiped Jesus' feet, her hair would have smelt the perfume that she'd anointed on Jesus. That would have stayed for days on end. We must smell different too. And I don't mean don't bath, but we must smell different. Our fragrance of Jesus must be so strong that people are reminded of our radical devotion. Now, when I was pondering this story in the Passion Translation, I came across a comment in the notes and it completely blew me away. It reads, "It is entirely possible that when the Roman soldiers pierced Jesus' beautiful feet and put the crown of thorns on his lovely head, they could have smelt this fragrant oil." Even those who persecuted Jesus would have smelt the devotion and extravagant love that people had for him. And it made me think, and I might be stretching a point a little, but Jesus would have smelt it too. In the Garden of Gethsemane, as he wept, as Judas kissed him, as he was questioned and tortured, as he hung on the cross, he might have smelt that perfume too. I was really challenged by this, and I resolved that I want Jesus to smell my devotion and know my radical love for him. My question for you this morning, will you do the same?